Hello everyone, Toby Danilchuk with 39 Celsius Web Marketing Consulting, and in this short little video I'm going to show you a straightforward process you can use to arrive at answering the question of how much should I spend on Google Ads. The amount you spend can vary widely depending on what your actual goals are. It's a simple process, but we'll go through 4 steps here, number 1 of which is to identify your goals for new customers or revenue growth, identifying how much traffic you need from Google Ads to reach your goal. What is the gap in ad spend between what you're spending now, if you are spending money in Google Ads, and where do you need to be in spend to reach your goal? And then what else can you do to improve that model and get closer to what your real goals are? And so all of this is designed to help you come up with a recommended Google Ads budget. It will also help you manage expectations in terms of where you need to be with your ad spend, what is a reasonable amount in terms of new customer growth or sales or revenue growth, and overall a better understanding of how to make marketing accountable for your business. So step number 1 is identify your goals in terms of revenue and new customers. You want 10 new customers, you want 40 new customers, or what is your revenue growth? You want 20%, 50% growth. Now we need to understand how much is the Google traffic going to cost us to help us reach that goal. There's a number of different tools we can use to help us get there, but one of the fallback ones and the most reliable ones is the Google Keyword Planner. It's free and it's readily available. Google Keyword Planner tool will allow us to see what the range is in cost per click to get our ad at the top of the page, and it'll give us some parameters to work with. So in this case, I'm using mosquito control services as a keyword to research. And the Google Keyword Planner tool is estimating that top of page bid for that is going to be somewhere between $9 and $35 in a cost per click. So that's kind of giving us an estimation. So for illustrative purposes, for this case, let's just assume we're going to go after $15 cost per click. Then for simple math, let's just assume that we had $1,500 a month in a Google ad spend budget that we were allocating for this. If it's $15 a click and our monthly budget is $1,500, that's 100 clicks or unique visitors we're going to be driving into our website. So what will this yield in terms of new business? Step 3 then is that you need to understand your website conversion rates. And a conversion in this case simply refers to the number of people that land on your website and the percentage of those people that either pick up the phone and call you or submit a form or chat with you. So if you don't know that off the top of your head, which likely if you don't spend your days looking at analytics and everything else, you're not going to have that number readily available. So that means you need to start digging into your Google Analytics on your website to understand these numbers a little better. However, if you are not comfortable looking in the analytics and looking at those numbers and the conversion rates and everything else, there are some reasonable assumptions you can make based on retail services as a whole and those conversion rates. So from my experience over hundreds of businesses and dozens of different industries for retail services, what I can tell you is the conversion rate typically is somewhere between 10 to 20% of website visitors end up calling you or submitting a form or chatting with you on your website. Your mileage is going to vary greatly, of course, depending on the quality of your website and whether the landing pages are optimized and whatnot. But generally speaking, that's a reasonable benchmark. Continuing on with our thought process here, earlier we calculated we were going to get from our ad spend of $1,500 and our $15 cost per click based on the keywords. We were going to get 100 site visitors. If we're somewhat conservative, let's assume 10% of those people convert now from being website visitors to being actual leads. So we have 10 new leads. Don't customers yet, they're just leads. Next, we want to think about what is our lead to customer conversion rate. And this is important. This starts to bring in your operations and sales skills. So marketing leaves off with the phone call and the form submission. And this is where operations and marketing go hand in hand. How well do you convert these leads to sales? How quick are you to respond to them? All these factors play an important role. Things such as, what is your review profile? Is your average reviews online 1 or 2 stars? Then you're going to have a much lower conversion rate from a lead to a customer. But again, my experience from working with hundreds of different businesses throughout the country in various different retail service niches is that conversion rate from somebody being a lead to somebody being a customer is somewhere between 50 to 90%. And let's lean on the little more conservative side of this and assume 50% convert from being a lead to an actual paying customer. And if that's the case, and we ended up with those 10% of those 100 visitors became leads, that was our website conversion rate to a lead, and 50% convert to actual customers, we can assume that we've got 5 new customers. Mileage will vary depending on your industry and how well you are with operations and how well you are at closing people. So let's pull this all together into a more of a cohesive sort of model, if you will. So you can build a simple model like this. Here we have the average cost per click, which we've talked about all these numbers. So we assumed $15. We assumed initially our monthly budget was going to be $1,500. The visits to our website, we just divide the 1,500 by 15 and we come up with 100 visitors. Our website conversion rate, we said, was somewhere in, for retail services, somewhere between 10 to 20%. At 10%, we would get 2 new website leads. And if we convert 50% of those, which is another estimation based on my experience, kind of on the lower end, if you're able to convert 50% of those, you get 5 new customers. So my recommendation is that you build a simple model like this in Excel. The areas in yellow, you can adjust these numbers to play around with and get comfortable. Where do I need to be profitable? What makes sense? And you get this number at the top in terms of average cost per click from the Google Keyword Planner. You can play around with monthly budgets. I think this will go a long ways to really helping you identify what is my optimal budget to help me reach reasonable goals. So wrapping it up is step number 1 is identify your goals for new business, whether that's sales or new customers. Step 2 is identify how much traffic you're going to need to reach your goals. Identify the gap in ad spend if you're already spending on Google Ads, and if not, what does that Google ad spend budget need to look like on a monthly basis based on your financial goal. You can use the Google Keyword Planner to help you arrive at the cost to acquire that traffic. Build a simple Excel model to help model this out. It's not very complicated, only takes a minute or 2 to build that, and then play around with the numbers. And then identify on an ongoing basis, on a monthly basis perhaps, where can I improve? Improve my landing page conversion rates. Can I split test those ads? Can I improve sales and operations? What can I do to improve my conversion rates so that I get more customer and make my marketing work even better for me? So I hope this helped you. We use this tool basically to help our own clients through identifying what their goals should be and how much budget they need and whether that budget is reasonable to hit their goals. Because it's not uncommon for somebody to have grandiose goals about doubling their sales, but when it comes to spending the money to get there, they might not have the budget. So if you like this video, give me a like on the video or a comment or a question below. I would greatly appreciate it.